Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer. Welcome back to American Truck Simulator, and welcome to Farmington, New Mexico. This is not a Peterbilt. No, it sure isn't. This is a Volvo VNL. Let's get started, and I'll tell you what's going on, because a lot is going on. Really, a lot is going on, in a good way. So, in we go. Brake is off, first gear, here we go. We're going to pick up, in our Volvo, and we're going to pick up a special transport. And man, what an unusual day it's been. When I say I can't keep track of my sims anymore, I'm not kidding. Like, I'm not being funny when I say that. I have so many sims going and so many mods and so many DLCs and just so much stuff. Now, I'm not like complaining or anything. It's not, I'm not digging for coal. This is a fun thing that I'm doing, and I enjoy every second of it. But I do have a ton of mods and a ton of DLC and a ton of sims, and it's hard to keep track of everything. So today, just kind of as a whatever, I keep seeing the Air Death Volvo, because every morning I do just a quick look for mods. I look on the Giants Mod Hub, I look for ETS mods, I look for ATS mods, one site only, one ping only. One site for ETS, one site for ATS, and one site for Farm Sim. I won't tell you what those sites are. They're not super dodgy, but I feel like they're dodgy enough that I don't really want to, like, you know what I'm saying? I've never been 100% comfortable with the whole non-workshop mods arrangement. So anyway, it's just one site for each. And I keep seeing the Air Death Volvo. And I was like, man, I'm happy with my Peterbilts. In fact, I was going to sell some trucks in ATS. I feel like I've got too many trucks, and all of a sudden it's like, well, that Air Death Volvo, and it's available for 1.32, and I thought, okay, fine, I'll do it. Fine, I'll do it. You twisted my arm. I'll do it. I'll do it live. So I go to the Steam Workshop for ATS. Moment. Turn signal, neutral. Here we go. I go to the Steam Workshop for ATS, and I keep seeing SCS. Which of these do we want to take? I was kind of thinking of the helicopter. They're both going to Raton. They're both going on this nightmare road. Oh, I can't wait. Huge tires. That's a smaller trailer. I'm going with this one. I'm going with the ridiculous trailer. And I'll tell you why after we get rolling. Trucks, tanks were refilled, and driving hours restored. Fantastic. T-Bones. My man. My friend T-Bones. My friend Tony is a truck driver and a rigger. I've told you that. And the company that he works for does specialized lifting and hauling. And I'm talking like a 1 million pound lift, a 1 million pound haul. They do crazy stuff. Gigantic loads, telescope mirrors, like unbelievable jobs. And, all right, and this is going to be the same as ETS. So rear escort goes first. Then the front escort, and then me. You got it. Okay, do I have my beacons on? I most certainly do. Let's do a little screenshotty. No, we'll need to do. You know what? I'll do something with the photo editor after the photo mode. I'm not gonna make you sit through that. Right. Oh, that's a great start. Let's try to get with the parking brake off. So I think he'll dig this. I'm sorry, I've got multiple cell phones, multiple mobiles, and one of them that I don't use. I don't know if you can hear it ringing. It's the ringer's turned off, but the vibrate is on. I get like multiple calls on that phone every day. They're all from Nigerian princes. I've never answered that phone. It's for, I use it for a specific purpose. I've never answered it, and people call me on that phone constantly. So yeah, Tony D, I think you'll dig this, man. We got escorts, we got pilot vehicles. Let me know what you think. So the Volvo, yeah, and I keep seeing, when I'm looking in the mod workshop, I keep seeing mods for the SCS Volvo, and I'm like, man, ain't no SCS Volvo. There's the Air Death Volvo. What are you talking about? And then I look down below on the Steam page, And sure enough, I see a notification from Monday the 6th saying that we finally have developer-supported Volvo DLC. So we've got an official Volvo, and we've got Volvo dealers now. Finally here. Which is a little disappointing because I wanted to do the Aerodeth, which is also a VNL. It just has more slots. I may do it. I may just stick with this one for a while. We'll see. Aerodeth Volvo is, I mean, that's a legendary mod. So we'll see. I'll sell a couple trucks too because I've got too many trucks now. But that's a story for another day. Anyway, while I'm doing that dropped on the 6th. And then I see, when I go to see if I need to like select a DLC to download, because sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. I believe the Krona trailer pack for ATS was a free DLC, or was it? I don't remember. But anyway, you had to do something, to get that DLC to download. Now, this Volvo DLC is automatic. As soon as the game updates it, you have it. You don't need to select it. But as I was looking, I saw Special Transport. What? Yeah, Special Transport in ATS. It's here. It's $5 in the Steam store. Well worth it. Although, if you follow my ETS videos, I never do Special Transport jobs. Because they're kind of a novelty, but they don't really do it for me. But then, of course, as soon as the DLC is available, I'm like, oh, I gotta have it. I gotta have it so I can never use it, because that's just how I am, Anyway, we got Volvo, which I didn't really want. We've got Special Transport, which I will never really use. And I'm so happy. Well, what a sim gamer I am. It's like, ooh, stuff that I'll never use. It's a scene, man. It's a scene inside my head. I gotta get a handle on materialism. And I've told you in other videos that I justify my materialism in sim gaming by saying, well, most of it's free, and it's nothing that I need to physically carry with me. But we forget, or at least I forget, trying to be a good Buddhist, it's not that you physically carry it with you, silly. It's that you mentally and emotionally carry it with you. It's in your head. The things you own end up owning you, even if they're not physical, And that goes all the way down to ideas, thoughts, beliefs, That's what the poet said. He said, you'll never be free until you emancipate yourself from the prison of your own false thinking. And it's like, thoughts don't take up any space, you don't have to buy them. And you don't have to carry them around in a physical sense, and yet they are real, and we do carry them. So just because mods and DLC, just because they're free, or just because I don't have to physically carry them, that doesn't mean that they're not a burden, or that they can't be a burden in a existential context. You know what I mean? The things you own end up owning you. Let me make it real serious in here. Let me make it real serious up here. But you know what? I'm getting so few views right now. I feel like we got nothing to lose. Let's just do whatever we want. We'll do it live. So I'm going to tell you a little Zen parable while we're driving our truck. So two monks are walking through the forest. A senior monk, right? Like big time, a lama, and a novice monk. And they come to a stream, and there's a prostitute trying to figure out how to get across the stream. And immediately, without saying anything, no conversation, the lama picks up the prostitute, walks across the stream, puts her down. And they all go on their journey. So it's like 3 days later. Our two monks, I don't know, they're going on a pilgrimage or something. They're going somewhere. They're walking. They've been walking for like 3 days since this happened. And the novice monk, he finally says, Master, I have to ask you. And the lama is like, yeah, I've been waiting. It's obviously you've wanted to ask me. Go ahead. And the novice monk says, how could you do that, man? We've taken a vow never to touch a woman. How could you pick a woman up like that? And the lama says, I picked her up because I could put her down again afterwards. And you haven't been able to. Oh, sick burn from the lama. Oh, but he's right, man. He's right. We get ideas. I for a long time I believed, I don't want to say I fell into the trap, but for a long time I believed that materialism caused flawed thinking. And I came to realize that materialism is actually a result of flawed thinking. So when I say, I don't want to burden myself with excessive stuff, even thoughts and ideas, I need to remind myself that materialism, I think, comes from flawed thinking, not the other way around. So, yeah, man. Yeah, it's going to get serious up in here from time to time. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Speaking of materialism, check this out. I got the big Volvo. Look back there, man. It's got a little suite. We could, like, sit back there and read a newspaper, drink a cup of coffee. I imagine that thing flips down into a bunk of some kind. But yeah, man, this is, I'm digging this rig. And I don't know if the Aerodeath has that same sort of arrangement. I don't know. And I just thought of something. Look up there. Oh yeah, there's a bunk up above. So I guess if we drop that bunk down from up above, we can leave everything on the lower part set up, like rigged as a little breakfast nook. So we don't need to be like putting everything away every evening and then taking it all out again in the morning. We can just flip that bunk down, hop up there and get some sleep. It's beautiful, man. It's a lovely job they did. I can't wait to see how crazy this road is going to get up through the hills. Of course, I picked the most difficult one I could think of. You know how I do. You know how I do. But yeah, man, I'm digging this so far, and I'm digging the truck. And we're actually out of money. You remember at one point we had like $2.5 million, and I bought a bunch of garages and a bunch of trucks. And then I think we bought some trucks and we lost them, and we ended up kind of taking a beating financially in that sense, and whatever. And we were down to about 250 grand. Now we've made a little bit of money because we got so many drivers working, but we were down to about 250 grand. I want to say this truck was like 195,000. So we lucked out. We just had enough money. Our loan is paid to zero, so I guess we could have borrowed money. But it was weird that we had all that money and nothing to do with it. So we just made up something to do with it, and then something actually that we needed money for happened, and we had enough. We didn't have very much. So it goes. Good frame rate. The AI seems to be behaving itself as far as our escorts. Now, I can tell you that I did this, well, not this mission, but I did a special transport mission to kind of test everything. And the AI got a little weird. Got into a situation on a freeway, and I had to change lanes, and a truck ended up next to me, but then it stopped. And I think when it stopped, it blocked my rear escort, and then because my rear escort couldn't move forward to get over, then my front escort couldn't move forward to get over either. So I passed my front escort, and I was curious, like, is it going to let me finish this job? Like, when I get to my yard to deliver, is it going to let me deliver? And it did. But without the front escort, like, see how he moves over to like keep traffic on the other side? Without my front escort, I did bump a couple vehicles and get tickets. I didn't take any damage, and the job delivered with an excellent rating. But and the tickets were like $900 a piece, and we've got over 100 grand, so it wasn't really that big a deal. But I felt bad, and I recorded that, and after I was done, I was like, no. I mean, I'm really kind of disheartened right now with the slow growth of the channel, but I don't feel like that's any reason to phone it in, do it badly. I still want to continue not just making videos that are as good as I'm able to make them, but I want to go even better than that. I mean, I see other people's videos and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's what I'm aiming for. That's the standard. Like, that's the standard I want to hold myself to. And just because I'm kind of frustrated with the growth, that's no reason to be like, oh, whatever, deet, and just, throw some trash out there. Not my style. So we're re-recording this. Plus, it's just fun doing new, novel things in any sim. And who knows, maybe we will do more special transport. We haven't been doing a lot of heavy cargo either. I guess we could be doing more of that, because those are kind of fun sometimes. And we do have that big 3-axle Viper, so maybe we will. I don't know. It's all up in the air. As far as new stuff coming out, Long Island Railroad will be available for Train Sim World in a few days. It's coming on the 15th, I believe. Then the 20th is Farm Sim 19. And then the 30th is Ride 3, which I have to say I'm a little bit on the fence about that. I don't know. I have Ride 2, and it's fun, but it's an arcade game. It's not really a sim. And Milestone, the company that makes both Ride 2 and MotoGP 18, I'm curious if they're going to make Ride 3 more realistic as MotoGP is, more of a sim, less of an arcade game, or if the Ride franchise is always going to be just kind of a fun, lighthearted game rather than a sim. It's right in between. It's hard, but it's not realistic. So to me, that's not the best combo. Like, I prefer all of one or all of the other, but it's right in the middle. I feel like Dakar Rally kind of went the same direction. Like, it was really cartoony, but it was really like complex and difficult. Didn't really do it for me. It was too complex to be fun, but not realistic enough to be a sim. It was just kind of silly, I thought. Didn't like it. Did not care for it. So that's sort of, I mean, I like Ride 2, and the thing I like about Ride 2 is I was able to buy every motorcycle that I've ever owned in real life, almost. CBR 900, TL 1000, RC 51, S4R, Trip 9S, Thruxton, and I think that's everything I owned that was in the game. I had a few others that aren't in the game, but yeah, every motorbike, street bike anyway, that I was ever lucky enough to own, I was able to get in the game. But you know what? It's sort of vague, and I really can't tell you, having ridden those bikes in real life, and several of them were heavily tuned. Having ridden those bikes in real life, I honestly can't say if the game accurately captures their handling or performance. It's fun, but it's not like I hop on the Thruxton and I'm like, oh yeah, that's exactly how my Thruxton was. My Thruxton was tuned by a guy named Matt Capri. Well, not him personally. It was tuned at his tune shop. And if you know who Matt Capri is, and if you know what kind of Triumphs he builds, I was really, really lucky to have his place as my place. So that was a fun time. That was Los Angeles. That was a good time. But again, materialism. Man, I'll tell you what. I've been rich in this life and I've been broke. There's really no difference between the two. It's just how you feel about it. And that's such an empowering thing to realize as a human being. You can feel any way you want about anything. You can find out today you're going to be fired, you're going to lose your job, and one person is like, oh no, this is the worst thing ever, and somebody else is like, good, it's time for me to move on and do bigger and better things with my life. And I'm not saying like you get a cancer diagnosis and you start celebrating. There's some things that are pretty terrible. They're going to be hard to deal with. But okay, there you go. A friend of mine got really bad food poisoning, and when she was in the hospital, they found out she had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Caught it very early, and it was a pain in the ass. She had to do obviously some treatment for it, but had she not had the food poisoning, they may not have found it till it was much more advanced. So in that case, you know what I'm saying? Her getting food poisoning may have saved her life. So it really is the way you choose to feel about things. And I feel like there are some people that choose to feel very, very angry and very sort of bitter and ripped off by like everything that happens to them. And you don't have to feel that way. You can choose to see opportunity in everything, and not necessarily opportunity like greedy, make money, get ahead opportunity, but an opportunity to grow, learn, evolve, whatever. So it's tricky, man. I used to be kind of an angry cat, I have to say. And you know what Yoda taught us? He said, much fear I sense in you. And fear is one of those things that when you have fear, it's almost like, hey man, I'm a victim here. Hey, look at me, I'm afraid. Don't be mad at me because I'm afraid. I'm not doing anything wrong. I have things to be afraid of. And then you remember what Yoda said when he was like, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate. And he's right. And when you when you shift your perspective and see it that way, when you see every angry person as a fearful person, when you realize that anger is not power and it's not something to be intimidated by, it's something to exploit. Angry people, they want to pretend they're in control. They can't control anything. They can't even control themselves. I mean, the reason they're angry in the first place, the reason they're having a tantrum, adults have tantrums for the same reason that children do. They're saying, I have a problem, I can't solve it, and I need the people around me to recognize that I have a problem, and then I need them to solve it for me because I can't or won't solve it myself. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be so disruptive and make people so uncomfortable that even though they don't want to solve my problem, they want to deal with my tantrum less. So they're going to solve my problem, or I'll punish them by being annoying and having a tantrum. Right? And that is, it's sick when you think about it. It's really, really sick and pathetic. You know what? I hate to do this. But I'm going to take a picture. I hope you don't mind. And I hope that it doesn't bug out the recording when we come back. Holy smokes, that is zoomed in. So we want to zoom out. We want to go over. Yeah, I don't know when else to do this. Let's go up a little bit. And let's pan down a little bit. Yeah. There we go. We'll do it quick. We'll do it live. I don't know when we're going to have a thumbnail as good as that one. So I went ahead and did it. So yeah, man. Exploiting people, controlling them, manipulating them by making them fear what you're going to do if you don't get your own way. That is so childish, and it's the weakest of weak sauces, man. That is pathetic. And I am embarrassed to say that I used to do that. I had a lot of anger. I had a lot of bitterness. And I finally learned to let go, learn to stop being afraid. And here's the tip. Yeah, it's very serious. Been a very serious trip today. What are you going to do? Here's how I did it. Here's the tip that I'll send your way. You need to realize that you're going to die someday. And you're probably not going to like it. If you're really, really super old or super sick, maybe you'll be like, okay, it's time. But for the most part, most people are not too happy to die. Particularly not if they're young, and particularly not if they see it coming. And I don't mean like, plane crash, 2 or 3 minutes. I mean like cancer or something, where you have a year or a year and a half to like, oh man, not fun. But it's going to happen to everybody, every single one of us. It's going to happen to every organism in the universe. It's going to happen to every planet, every star. It's going to happen to the universe itself. Everything must end and will, including us. And once you accept that, once you realize that the worst thing that you think can happen to you is inevitably going to happen to you, then nothing else that can happen to you is really scary, because A, it's not as bad as dying, and B, it's not inevitable. People fear things like bankruptcy or divorce. Well, it's not the worst thing that can happen to you. It could actually be the best thing that could happen to you. And it's not inevitable. There's always ways to solve problems. So that for me was huge. It's stop being afraid. I'm not afraid of anything anymore. I don't worry about things anymore. I really don't. I just do my thing, yo. One day at a time. But not like a 12-stepper. Not a fan. But yeah, man, what is there to be afraid of? What is there to be afraid of? You know what the poet said? The poet said, I am a ghost driving a meat-covered skeleton made of old stars, riding a rock through the universe at 500,000 miles an hour. What could there possibly be to scare me? And that is a true fact. All of that is accurate. So yeah, what is there to be afraid of? Once you stop being afraid, once you see the humor in everything, and I'm talking everything, that's a little weird. A lot of people, they get kind of put off by that. Like, don't make light of my situation. Don't make light of everything. It's your situation, mine, religion, politics. It's all kind of silly. It really is. Let's have some fun with it. Stop taking things so seriously. Let's stop fighting and start laughing more. You know, it doesn't need to be that way. It doesn't need to be the way it is. But it's what we're used to, and it's what we keep doing. There's just no reason for it. All of my drivers are making money today. I don't even know how many drivers I have. It seems like they're all making money all of a sudden. I've seen so many jobs come in the past. Oi. Sir? Past, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, I've seen like 5 jobs come in. 5, sir? Starting to worry about our highway patrolman up here. Right, so we're making tracks. These jobs are always kind of slow, you know that. And I think we're going to finish in the dark, which is both good and bad. It's bad because it's harder to see. It's good because the lighting in this game, I think, is really, really coming along. And I do have some mods as well that particularly change the emergency vehicle lights, and I think they look fantastic at night. So we're doing okay on this road. I was worried, and it's tricky, but we're doing okay so far, and I'm actually pleased. You know, I try to do like the most difficult things possible in my sims, and I don't really blow it too often. Every now and then. But for something like this, you know, picking this road to drive on with special transport cargo, it's, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just a game. Who cares? But I still want to, there's another job that just came in. Wow, man, everybody's working today. I still want to do good work, like I was saying earlier, and I feel like, you know, driving a difficult cargo on a difficult route and doing it smoothly, hit it with a smoother, making no mistakes, I think that works for me. That's how I want to get down. I really want to hit my vape too. It's like right out of reach right now, and obviously both my hands are full, but wish I could reach over there. I'm focused so much on not causing any mayhem that I feel like I'm missing out on a lot of very beautiful scenery. Now, I've wondered, because we haven't seen any traffic for a minute, and you know these special transport routes are sort of uniquely constructed for things like bridges and toll booths, things like that. I've not seen any traffic since the road got really twisty, and I feel like the reason for that is so we never need to worry about somebody like coming around the bend right now. Even if our trooper up there scoots them over to the left, our left, their right, even if our trooper scoots them over, I still worry that we would hook them with this long trailer. So that doesn't seem to be happening. Although there is somebody, oh, I'm such an idiot. I'm like, oh, there's somebody back there. Oh, it's our rear escort. Duh. Yeah, I'm real smart. I went to college for like 3 weeks in a row. That is a true story, by the way. I did not go to college. I actually, since we're telling secrets, I actually didn't even go to high school. I quit school when I was 14. Kept waiting for it to get interesting, and it never did. I also kept waiting for the bullying to stop, and that never did either. Oh. So, yeah, I parted ways with formal education when I was 14. I feel like I've done all right. I really do. I've had, man, my life. I've traveled and lived and worked all over the world. And like I said, I made a lot of money. I've been broke. There've been some very, very lean years. But I made a lot of money. And I temper that. Like when I say I made a lot of money, I'm not saying I'm rich. I'm saying I have in the past made a lot of money. But there have been other times when I did not. So it all balances out. And I'm by no means wealthy. So I'm not like, oh yeah, my Lamborghini's in the driveway, my Canadian supermodel girlfriend. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's been up and down is what I'm saying. But despite the fact that I quit school when I was 14, there's been plenty of up. And I'm not by any means advocating that you quit school when you're 14. Don't do that. It's not for everybody, but it's for some people, and it's certainly for me. Definitely worked out. I don't think I would have had, well, I know I wouldn't have had the life that I've had if I would have stayed in school. So that is one thing. What is the other thing? I was going to tell you something else, and I can't even remember it now. I don't know. This trip is taking forever, but that's okay because I really want to kind of wring out this this DLC and make sure after what happened with the AI in that last mission that we tried, I want to make sure that it's, I mean, I assume that it is, and even if it's not, there'll be a patch in the next few days and everything will be fine. I'm digging it, man. I forget how hard you have to concentrate when you got the special transport, which honestly is not much bigger than some of the heavy cargo. The only difference really is pilot vehicles. And in fact, this one, the one that we have on, is probably lighter than a lot of the heavy cargo. We just don't come with the escorts, which is weird now to think about it. Now, to be fair, the heavy cargo are just heavy. They're not wide or long. So we don't necessarily need the pilot vehicles, but I guess that's the only difference. You know what? I'm getting a little casual. You see me starting to come in on some of these turns and forget what I'm hauling back there. This is when I blow it. Toward the end, I get lazy and complacent. My mind wanders, and I blow it. Just try not to do that. Good on fuel. I think we're going to be a little tight on sleep because we haven't been going very fast. Now, I don't know if they calculate that as well, because this has been, I think our maximum speed is 40, even when we're on the freeway. But we've been going much, okay. We've been going much slower than that up through the mountains. So I know we've lost some time. We got 2 hours to get there. I don't know when we need to sleep. I can't get to the button to look, but it's okay. We'll sleep. I mean, we'll just keep driving till we get there. I doubt there's going to be any place to sleep between here and there. Okay, we've got a few more twisties to go. Yeah, we've got a bunch more twisties to go. Okay. Now that warning that it gave me, I don't think it dinged me. I hope it didn't. As far as having an excellent delivery. They wouldn't do that to me, would they? I'm also curious, sorry, I zoned out right there. I'm also curious, anytime anything loads in this game, like anytime there's a load screen, I feel like Shadowplay kind of freaks out a little bit, and that's how my audio gets desynchronized, which is, it's only ever by like a quarter of a second or half a second, but it's weird how like disorienting it is when what I'm saying doesn't sync up exactly with what's happening on the screen. Like, you wouldn't think a quarter of a second or half a second would really matter, but it does. It's crazy how much it matters. Very strange. Right, I'm going to do these last few here. We're getting there. We're getting there. Getting close. Frame rate is doing okay with all these beacon lights on. We're at about 50, 45 to 50. I'd like to be a little higher, but lighting really beats up frame rate in this game. So it looks like we got one more big right-hander here. And then I think we're about to start coming out of the twisties. Maybe. I don't want to speak too soon. Jinx myself. oh, you know what? It's not that bad. That the perspective and the angle changes on the GPS, you know, to give you that perception of distance. And sometimes things look a little twistier than they really are, sir. Oh, I think he slows down when I'm not right behind him. Well, you know, I had to swing wide, man. I had to swing it wide. We'll do it live. Right. I will, I'll go take a look at the Aerodef off camera. I don't know if I want to build one or stick with this one. And I also want to, we have excessive 389s. We have like 5 of them. I think I might sell a couple of those or maybe trade those for these two. So we'll have the SCS Volvo and then we'll have the Aerodef Volvo, which I want to say the Aerodef Volvo has amazing sound. That's kind of a vague thing to say, but for some reason I remember it does. It was one of the original trucks that I drove when I got ATS when it first came out, and I want to say, was that ported over? I don't know. Was it ported from ETS to ATS or ATS to ETS? I can't remember, but I got it early days. And I like the sound on it, so I don't know. Maybe we'll have a sniff of the Aerodef, trade in or sell a couple Peterbilts and get the Aerodef. And I'd also like to build because we've got that monster 389 Viper. I'd also like to build a kind of a short wheelbase, 200-gallon tanks, almost like a logging version, because we have a day cab 389 now. So I'd like to build a day cab Viper 389. I think. I don't know. But we've got a couple 389s that are really, I have to say, unnecessary. And we only ever let our drivers drive them. We never drive them ourselves. So let's get rid of those. And we'll get, well, we already have this Volvo. Maybe we'll get another one. Maybe. I don't know. This has been a very spontaneous morning. I always decide these things at the last minute, you know that. Plus, the mods and the DLC are sneaking up on me. I can't keep track anymore. Oh, this is when I blow it. This is when I blow it. It's so close to the end. Loving all the lights at night, though. Looks like we got a little freeway down here. Oh, you know what? I really need to check for drivers. I'm feeling like NVIDIA does new drivers about once a month, and I'm feeling like it's been over a month. But I want to check for drivers. And that's weird because, you know, as often as not, no, I can't say that. It's not that often. Periodically, occasionally, NVIDIA drivers will just mess up everything, and you got to do a rollback. Doesn't happen. Yeah, I don't want to say more often than not. That's overstating it, but it does happen. And then there are other times where you just, I don't know, things just feel off a little bit, and it's like, man, come on, update, fix all these problems. And sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it does. I don't know, man. I envy that console life in a good way. Not like in a crazy way, but in a good way, I envy that console life because y'all don't have these problems. Oh, wow, they got all the traffic blocked. Okay. Good on you, Stadies. We just got a few more miles to go. Right. Okay. Yeah, they're holding everything now. I feel like before that last video that I did, I feel like some vehicles slipped around the escort vehicles and the blockers. And because they were where they shouldn't have been, then the scripting like didn't know how to deal with them and everything just kind of went to pieces. Which is not, you know, it's not the end of the world. I just think that's how it went down. I could be wrong. Right. Man, are these jobs coming in faster than normal? Like, what is going on? I've seen... Well, we don't even have that many drivers, do we? I've seen like 10 jobs delivered since we've been on this project. That doesn't seem right. What do I know? Right. Getting into Raton. And you know what? This video seems really long. I feel like I've been driving for like hours, but it's only been about 40 minutes. Although it could be I drove for an hour before we even started recording. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's that. Very close now. Mm-hmm. Oh, whew. It's decent sound on this truck, I have to say. It's not, you know, the aftermarket sounds, mod sounds are always so aggressive and so loud. And I know sometimes they're very accurate as well, but sometimes I think they're just louder than base game. And that's what we want, sometimes. This has a nice tone to it. Sounds pretty good, I think. And I'm not enough of a truck fan. Like, man, I see on the SCS soft forums, I see a lot of like real truckers on there, and they'll be talking about things like tone and you know, what their trucks sound like. Adapt my speed. Okay. So as soon as he goes over, I go over. Okay, that's what happened before in that last one. He never went over. He just stopped. And I feel like he was waiting for the rear escort, but the rear escort was blocked, so we would have waited forever. And I couldn't restart because we were recording. Oh, that's nice. I just saw the sign up on the hill there. Is that on the hill, or is that like on a hotel or something? See it up there? On the left? Meanwhile, I'm not concentrating. I'm going to wreck my truck. Oh, no. Oh, man. Oh, I'm so embarrassed right now. Oh, I thought I had it. Thought I had it. The turn, I mean, not the delivery. I thought I swung it wide enough. Oh, that is so embarrassing. That is very cool. I like that. Okay. Now what am I hitting? What? Alright, well, I'm at a bit of a loss now. I thought I swung that other one as wide as I possibly could. And now we're going to jackknife. Okay, well, I can't really see back there. I mean, unless we go straight in and then just turn it, I don't know. Oh, this is terrible. All that way, and then the last, like, literally the last few hundred yards. Ah, I'm so sorry. Hate to do that to you. Well, fortunately, there's nobody watching me, making me uncomfortable. Not you, I mean. I was being sarcastic. Like, there's all those guys there watching. I don't think we can get it in there, and I can't back this thing up, so no. Oh god. I was just about to stop and skip because I was worried we'd hit that thing. Oh, well, we still got excellent. That's ridiculous. I am so sorry. Hate when I do that. Hate when I do that. I try to be better than that, folks. Thanks for stopping back to check out The Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of American Truck Simulator with the new Volvo VNL, SCS DLC, and also the special transport DLC. We'll see you next time. Take care.